Namaste friends. My name is Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar. I am Global Convener of United Consciousness. I welcome all of you in this grand celebration of Namaste friends. My name is Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar. I am Global Convener of United Consciousness. I welcome all of you in this grand celebration of United Nations International Day of Yoga. Dear friends, we are living in a divided world that has been divided in the limited identities of caste, creed, race, orthodoxies of religion, fanatic nationalism, intolerant thoughts like these. And these limited identities prevent us to see divine beyond divides. And the divided world is a dangerous place to live and to raise the kids. And that's why unification of this world in consciousness is must. We need to unite together in consciousness, and this unification has to be twofold. One, my unity with self. When a person can connect with self, and then when I can connect with the surrounding. Connection with self means connection of mind, body, and soul together. When mind, body, and soul are aligned, we feel peaceful, we feel happy, we feel resolved. But when they are not aligned, we feel agitated. There is a dissonance that we feel. And once I am peaceful with self, then I can be peaceful with the surrounding also. And that leads to my connection with the surrounding. A irritated person makes an agitated family. Agitated family leads to a volatile society. Volatile societies together makes a disturbed nation. And disturbed nations together makes a boiling world. Indeed, world is boiling. And that's why even the whole environment is boiling and we call it global warming. We need to stop that right now. This world in pieces needs a manual of peace. And Patanjali Yoga Sutram is that manual of peace. Patanjali Yoga Sutram. Yoga word itself has come out of Sanskrit root yuj, that means to connect. To unite everybody, to unite single person in consciousness. And that's why Patanjali Yoga Sutra is a grand scripture of peace. 195 aphorisms for global peace. Yoga Sutra gives a message of my connection with self. Niyamas for my personal honesty towards self. Yamas to be socially responsible. Asanas and pranayam to be physically fit and healthy. Pratyahar and dharana to be psychologically peaceful. And dhyan and samadhi to be spiritually elevated and self-realized. So all 8 limbs of Yoga Sutra assures my connection with self and in turn my connection with surrounding and divine and supreme also. So Yoga Sutram helps me to connect with self, surrounding and supreme. It leads to a world where individually a person is peaceful. A peaceful person leads to a happy family. Happy family leads to a joyful society. Joyful society leads to prosperous nations, and prosperous nation makes a blissful world. Let's not wait for the grave to rest in peace. Let's live in peace every moment. Let's breathe in peace. And this is the message of Yoga Sutram. Today, in this celebration of International Day of Yoga, around 108 masters from all 6 continents of the world and from around 50 nations of the world have gathered together on the common platform of United Consciousness to declare divine beyond divides, to unify me at my level, unification of mind, body, and soul, and at the global level, unification of me, you, and all. Amazing speeches, panel discussions, discourses, meditation practices, asana practices, dance, music from all parts of the world are waiting for you for your journey into self. To sit back and relax and enjoy this amazing journey into self-inquiry. Let's create a healthy, happy, and a prosperous world together in and with yoga. Thank you.
Swami Tejomayananda explained the importance of Guru. He said, Tirtha is the knowledge of self that takes us across the ocean of sanskars. It comes in the form of Guru and his blessings. I'm extremely overwhelmed that today we have such Guruji who has blessed us through his message so we could have knowledge of self and stay happy and peaceful. He is Swami Swarupananda Ji. Swami Ji has a spiritual inclination since childhood, and during his adolescence he met the preeminent master of the Vedanta, Swami Chinmayananda Ji. He has undergone intensive training under Swami Chinmayananda Ji and Swami Tejomayananda Ji at Sandeepani, Mumbai. He has touched thousands of lives across the world, and his tremendous work in bringing out the essential wisdom and underlying unity of all religions. Swami Swarupananda Ji is a rare voice that blends authenticity with accessibility theory, with self-practice, logic with heart. Presently Chancellor of Chinmaya Vishwavidyapeeth Trust and Chairman of Chinmaya International Residential School in Coimbatore, India. Swami Swarupananda Ji has now been bestowed by Swami Tejomayananda Ji the privilege to also serve as the head of Chinmaya Mission worldwide. Swami Ji has authored several commentaries on such important spiritual classics as Ek Onkar, Mahamrityunjay Mantra, Sankat Mochan, besides numerous books on commentaries, lifestyle subjects such as simplicity and meditation, Storm to Perform, Avatar, Managing the Manager, and Journey to Health. So with a warm welcome, let's listen his words of wisdom.
Namaste and greetings to all of you on this special occasion of the International Yoga Day. Apparently, when we look into this world, we see differences, we make distinctions, we have our likes, dislikes, preferences. We see a world of diversity, and in that world of diversity, we find ourselves separated, isolated, lonely. And from there arises the sense of insecurities, sorrow, craving, selfishness, all these that go to make our minds agitated. We all have something common that unifies all of us. Even if we think, what is it that we all commonly want? Is it not that all of us want happiness and peace? In fact, we don't only want for ourselves, we want it for everyone. That's why on special occasions, we send greetings to people, wishing them a happy birthday, happy new year. We have peace conferences for peace in the world. But very often, with every peace conference, we make one more piece of the world. We all want that peace and happiness. But in life, we hold on to everything that gives us sorrow, that produces agitations in our mind. The very word yoga, which means union, or that which unites us, to this supreme goal, that is the infinite consciousness, that which is the source of unending happiness and peace, is yoga. And this yoga is attained, really speaking, through knowledge, because it is due to our ignorance that we do not see that obvious existence consciousness that binds us all together in that oneness. But the mind, when ignorant and extroverted, sees the world of distinctions and differences, such a mind remains ever distracted, agitated, and such a mind is not a contemplative and meditative mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna, Yogeshwara Krishna, the Lord of all yogas, that teacher, that supreme master, has pointed out very clearly what yoga is. And he says that your mind is your best friend, and your mind is your deadliest enemy. That mind which is in your mastery, which is in the state of yoga, union with your higher self, that mind which leads you to it is your best friend. And it is this mind only that leads you to sorrow, bondage, agitation, grievances, hatred, jealousies, conflict, wars. And that mind is your worst enemy. Therefore, all practices of yoga is to master this mind and make this mind abide in the supreme self, the self which is the same consciousness in every one. Philosophy calls it as truth. Science speaks about it as reality. Religion calls it as God. Not a common understanding of certain concepts or beliefs, but that infinite cause, because of which everything exists, that infinite cause, because of which we live, we function, which is that common thread that binds all our experiences and thoughts into a necklace, as well as is the underlying substratum of the entire universe. That which is the very essence of each and every one of us, the very heart. That is what is called as God. To bring this mind from its diverse extrovertedness, its likes, dislikes, cravings, to calm this mind and make it single pointed in and through every action and endeavor in our life is what is called as yoga. Not any particular practice, but all those practices that help us to master our mind and make the mind abide in our true, peaceful, infinite self, which is the same self, the same God in everyone. That which unites us in this oneness, that is called as yoga. And to bring that mind to abide in the self through the various practices, from our day-to-day actions to all our religious, spiritual practices, through all our yama, niyamas, asanas, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, to the highest state of meditation, is to bring this mind to become silent in the truth, in the self, in the infinite consciousness. One who can master his or her mind is the master of the universe, no longer a victim of circumstances, but the master of all situations. Win the mind, win the world, is what the great masters, spiritual masters, have declared. But to conquer this mind is not that easy, because it has enslaved us throughout our life with its delusions, its fancies, its false expectations, its regrets of the past, its anxieties for the futures, its excitements in the present. Therefore, past is also tense, present is also tense, future is also tense. To master this mind, not to suppress this mind, for it is so powerful, it blows off like an explosion, but to calm this mind and make this mind single pointed. It is not by force, but a very, very powerful means. Because when your opponent is very powerful, it is not only with strength and power you can conquer, but that which conquers all easily, to whom everyone just surrenders and melts. Everyone's mind instantly becomes calm, instantly becomes focused, and abides in it. And that powerful force, that powerful means, that which unites and therefore is yoga, is love. And when love is directed towards that which is supreme, supreme means that which is infinite, that which is everything and everyone. And supreme love, which means complete identification with the beloved. And you know, the moment love enters your heart, even for one person, your mind is immediately filled with all noble thoughts, virtues, kindness, compassion, sharing, giving, selflessness. Immediately, the mind is filled with joy and happiness. Supreme love is when there is complete identification with the beloved, where two don't remain as two, they become one. It's not you and me, it's us. Where the love is directed towards something which is higher, not one out of the many, but the one who is the many. It is called as devotion. Thus, when you love your parents and therefore begin to love all your siblings rather than fight over my toy, my possession, we're reminded that common factor that brings us together. If you love your parents, you love your siblings. You love your country, you love your fellow countrymen. You love humanity. You love every person. You love every creature of the universe. When you love that which is the many, in whose love you begin to love the many. And even when there is love for one person, the heart is full of such virtues, such nobility, such joys, such dynamic action, that when love is for the Supreme, then it not only brings out the best in us, but we recognize that which is the best that makes all of us. How do we develop this devotion? This path of love is beautiful from the beginning to the end. It is everyone, even animals, have love in them. Only we have to dare to open up our hearts to love. At this moment, we may not be able to love everyone around us. At least not the bad and the evil. But love transcends all qualities. Love transcends all limitations. Love makes everything beautiful. And love makes us see beyond the superficial differences the beauty that lies in each and every one of us. And love brings out that beauty from everyone. When this love is there for the Supreme, for God, and in that God which we recognize is there in each and every one, that is not the God that creates wars and conflicts. That love for the Supreme is devotion. And how can we have that love? That devotion which is called as bhakti. And bhakti itself is yoga. Love is that which unites. In love, when we get integrated, and in love, when we find that union and oneness with the supreme peace, the supreme bliss, the supreme being, the supreme love. That is called as bhakti or devotion. And how do we cultivate? By keeping the company of those holy saints, sages. If not their direct company, then the company through their literature, through their books. Listen to the stories and glories of these devotees. Keep the company of devotees, because primarily love comes when we meet someone who can unconditionally give love. Our faith in love comes. We experience that love in our hearts. Listen. Listen to the glories of the Supreme. Love develops when we are ready to do something for the beloved, when we are ready to serve. And when we serve with love, there is such a joy in the action itself that all wants, desires, and expectations become insignificant in the very joy of giving, sharing, loving with love. And when we love that one from whom we have gained everything, from even now from the world, if we are getting, it is from that Lord only. Seeing that one and ever ready to do all our actions as a dedication to that Lord, where every action becomes a worship, where every action the mind becomes calm, every action becomes efficient. That is called as the state of yoga. Equanimity of mind, samatvam yoga uchyate. Efficiency and dexterity in action is yoga, where the mind remains balanced in every situation without likes and dislikes, and where there is love. See how likes, dislikes, expectations end, and there is acceptance and surrender. When there is acceptance and surrender, that moment the mind becomes calm. Where there is love, there is single pointedness, there is dedication. The mind remains ever dedicated. The mind remains ever concentrated and focused, because you cannot think of anyone other than the beloved. When the mind is distracted, bring the mind again to think about the name of the Lord, the mantra of the Lord, mantra japa. This is constantly repeating. And when we constantly remember someone, love intensifies. So much so that the mind thinks only of the beloved, and in that, all its vagaries fizzle off, and the mind dissolves in that bliss to identify with that supreme, that state of unity, of oneness is love. That is yoga. Wish you this union. Wish the world this unity and well-being. And we recognize this one united consciousness in each one of us in love. Hari.
I am very grateful to Swami Swarupananda ji for sharing his insights and blessing us through his message. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so very much. I feel privileged in welcoming our next guest, who is the enlightened soul illuminating his followers. He is Swami Tattvamaya ji. Swamiji is currently the minister in charge of the Vedanta Society of North California, San Francisco. He served in various centers of the Ramakrishna Order in India as an editor, publisher, and teacher of Sanskrit, Advaitic texts such as Shri Shankaracharya's commentaries on Prasthanatraya and Indian philosophy at the Training Center in Balur Math, the headquarters of Ramakrishna Mission in India, before coming to United States. He had traditional training in Hindu scriptures, Sanskrit and Vedic literatures from his early days. Swamiji has received traditional education in Sanskrit and Vedantic scriptures and is frequently invited for lectures on yoga, Vedanta and traditional Hindu scriptures. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Swami Tattvamaya ji.
Namaskar, my greetings to everyone. Good morning. This is early morning in San Francisco. So it's a great privilege for me to be here addressing all of you on this very interesting subject, Raja Yoga. Historically speaking, Raja Yoga, its practice and its philosophical aspects are mentioned in one of our ancient texts, the Bhagavad Gita. At the beginning of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks of a long lineage of philosopher kings, Rajashaya, who combined in their personality these apparently contrasting aspects of kingly dynamism and sagely wisdom, the efficiency, the activism, the dynamism of a ruling monarch, and the calm contemplative wisdom of a sage. Imam vivasude yogam proktavan ahamavayam vivaswan manave praka manu ikshakavya abravit evam parampara praptam imam rajashyo viduhu sakalena ihamahada yogo nashta parantava. Thousands of years before, Plato described the philosopher king in his Republic. Lord Krishna speaks about these philosopher kings of ancient India, who on the one hand were active, efficient and dynamic, and on the other hand could understand the limitations of action and dynamism. That's why in one of the rather unimportant commentaries, Shankarananda Saraswati writes, Rajattum Aishwarya Sambatti Rishittum Tasyaha Sukshmartha Darsana Kshamattum. So Shankaracharya calls them Rajanascha Rishayasya Rajasheka. Those who could accomplish success in life, prosperity, success, victory. At the same time, had also the wisdom to understand where success stops, where they could look beyond material success. Tasyaha Sukshmartha Darsana Kshamattum. They were called Rajashaya, means philosopher kings. Now, how did they practice this wisdom, spirituality, contemplation on the one hand, and also dynamism and efficiency on the other? By practicing yoga. Yoga means yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Of these 8 elements of Ashtanga Yoga, yamas and niyamas played very important role. ahimsa satya asteya brahmacharya parigraha sauja santosha tapaswadhyaya isar pranidhana. So when we practice non-violence, freedom from greed, having not desire to possess things that belong to others, contentment, inner purity, and also a sense of surrender and resignation to God's will, then we are able to practice efficiency on the one hand, and also we will have the wisdom to understand where efficiency stops. Something more than efficiency is needed, that is spirituality. That's why the most harmonious interpretation and description of healthy-mindedness in Hindu tradition, in Ayurveda, is prasannatmendriya manaha sustha iti abhidhiyate. A person whose senses, whose mind and his soul are in a state of perfect harmony, that person's mind is in friendly terms with himself. When our mind becomes our best friend, when our mind doesn't listen to the dictates of the senses, rather, when the mind is able to control the senses, and when that mind is linked to Atman, consciousness, then we can really practice both the qualities of a king and also the qualities of a sage. Now, interestingly, when we look at this, Patanjali Yoga Sutra throws some very important lights. One can enter this life through the practice of yamas and niyamas, and at the very beginning, we can practice what's called Kriya Yoga. Tapaswadhyaya Isar Pranidhananani Kriya Yoga. And when we practice this, we are slowly able to go beyond our own karmic blocks, and we are able to control our senses. We are able to live a harmonious life. All efforts are only an attempt to remove obstacles. So whatever we do will help us to bring back our own inner perfection, our own inner consciousness. And then we are able to spiritualize our whole life. Every act, every action becomes a worship. Every word becomes a sacred mantra, and every thought becomes a meditation. It's just like a sculpture creates an image of Buddha from a granite block. What he does is he removes all the unnecessary parts from the granite block, and then the image of Buddha emerges. Nimittam aprayojagam prakritinam varana bhedastu tata kshetrigavat. Patanjali writes in his Kaivalyapada. All our efforts are like efforts to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of the manifestation of perfection already within all of us. Like a farmer who wants to bring water from a nearby river to his field for irrigation, he cuts a canal. What he does is he removes the that part of the clay or mud from that part of the earth, and then it becomes a canal. Then water flows into his field. In other words, it is this state of perfection that is actually the implication of Raja Yoga. We are the masters of our own senses, this achievement of self-mastery. That's why Vyasa, in his commentary, says, talking about Parinama Dukkha, in the Sadhanapada, in the 15th sutra is Parinama Tapa Samskara Dukkaihi Guna Vritti Visheshacha Dukkhameva Sarvam Vivekinaha. This aspiration, this desire to go beyond the senses, to look for higher spiritual wisdom, which is called Raja Yoga, it comes only to those who are looking for a higher ideal, for a higher spiritual ideal. that they want to achieve and practice in their life. So that's the real implication of the word Atha. That's the first sutra, Atha Yoga Anushasana. And how do we accomplish this? Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. By accomplishing this Vritti Nirodha, transcending the Vrittis, transcending the Samskaras. Yoga Sutra literature, especially the commentaries like Vyasa's Bhashya, then Tattva-Vaisharadi, and Yoga Bhashya Vastigam, and other important commentaries, they give a very wonderful description of how this is achieved, especially Vyasa's commentary. Our mind normally functions at 5 different levels. Kshiptam, Mudam, Vikshiptam, Ekagram, and Niruddham. One state of mind may be restless and cannot contemplate on anything. Another state of mind will be dull but equally in conflict with itself. The third state is called Vikshiptam. Many people suddenly may feel a great enthusiasm, interest in spiritual values, but immediately they may lose it. When you are in a temple, you are praying, you feel a great sense of inner peace and tranquility. When you're back in your office, you may lose it. So this is called Vikshiptamana. As we practice meditation, prayer, and other spiritual disciplines, we are able to overcome this conflict frequently between the mind and intellect, the conflict between what we want to achieve and what our mind actually allows us to accomplish. Very often, our mind may not allow us to practice what we want to practice. Through constant practice, we overcome these obstacles and we ascend to the next stage, the fourth stage, Ekagra and Nirodha Vritti. Now, one important point that Vedanti's scriptures mention is this higher evolution is possible even in modern times. According to modern scientists like Julian Huxley, we have become conscious of ourselves, human beings. Now, there is another kind of evolution that is possible. How can we become better human beings? Our biological evolution has come to an end, as Darwin says. But there is another evolution that is possible. The evolution, this ascent at the spiritual and cultural level. Raja Yoga actually implies this higher evolution. And when we practice these disciplines, yamas and niyamas, and Kriya Yoga, unselfishness, dispassion, when we practice all these great values, then we are actually opening the door to this higher evolution. And then we will achieve in our minds this inexplicable tranquility. It's called Chitta Prasada in the yoga literature. Or maybe in its outer expression, we'll be able to live in peace and harmony with the whole world. On the one hand, we will not be at the beck and call of our own senses. We will be able to direct our senses or mind in the proper direction. On the other hand, we'll be able to enjoy peace and tranquility within ourselves. At the same time, we will look upon the whole humanity as one spiritual family. This is actually the highest state of human evolution. So the evolution that is possible beyond the biological, beyond the physical, the evolution at the spiritual and cultural level, that is the real significance of Raja Yoga. When we achieve this, we get out of this karma, vritti, samskara, chakram. I'm using the language of Vyasa and other commentators. Whatever we do will create its effect, residual effect of vritti, become samskaras, sankalpas, vasanas, and again we may repeat or avoid a previous action depending upon our experience. Now, when we normally live our lives, when we act and think and speak and interact with others, we are always under the influence of this karmic block. When we step into this path of Raja Yoga, what happens is we are able to get out of this karmic blocks, and then we'll be able to bring out the perfection that is already within us. In other words, Raj Yoga means a spiritual homecoming. We are reconnecting with our own spiritual identity. When we achieve this goal, we will be able to live a harmonious life. Now, I can give many of these examples. Of course, Yoga Sutras called it Kridarthata or Chitta Prasada, Kridakritya. When we feel within our mind tranquility and peace, then it means our mind is now friendly with us. When we feel inner conflict, then it indicates that our mind is in conflict with itself, it is in conflict with ourselves. So when we practice these spiritual disciplines, we get out of this mental trap and we practice Chitta Prasada. In fact, Patanjali Yoga Sutras give a long description of how this is achieved by practicing certain important values in our everyday life. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha. Patanjali, he recommends 4 approaches that can define our interactions with others. When we meet somebody who are spiritual seekers like ourselves, fellow pilgrims in this journey in spirituality, we should be friendly with them. And when we interact with people who may be less fortunate, who are inquisitive but not fortunate enough to learn enough about spirituality, we should be compassionate. And then when we meet with people who are more advanced than us, we should be happy. We should feel, we should be able to share their joy. We should not be hostile or envious. We should not have any jealousy. We should be able to admire great and good qualities in others. When we appreciate good qualities in others, we also inherit those good qualities. And of course, when we meet with people whose association can create problems for us, then we should practice the upeksha, keeping a long distance from them. Then what happens is, on the one hand, we are able to practice inner tranquility and peace, and at the same time, we are able to live in perfect harmony with others. We are able to look upon the whole humanity as one spiritual family. Not only humanity, but even the whole creation becomes our spiritual family. But one of the unique contributions of yoga literature is the concept of yamas and niyamas. It is frequently mentioned in the Yoga Sutra literature that one should not practice advanced forms of asana and pranayama without first being fully established in yamas and niyamas, because the practice of these spiritual values, yamas and niyamas, will block the doors opening to negativity. If a person who is not well established in non-violence, if he practices asana and pranayama, then there is a chance that he can become violent. So he should first of all try to practice these values, yamas and niyamas. Now, when this happens, what really takes place is this ascent. We go beyond the present level of evolution. So Raja Yoga actually signifies this ascent beyond the physical towards the transcendental. It is one of the glorious spiritual heritages of India that we develop this unique practice of combining action and contemplation. The kingly dynamism on the one hand and the sagely wisdom on the other. The ability to practice everyday responsibilities, duties, and at the same time being able to practice spiritual values. That is the uniqueness of Raj Yoga. Technically, Raj Yoga is linked to Tantra. It is also linked to Vedanta. But the direct method of practicing some of these disciplines are enumerated in the Yoga Sutra literature. It is actually one of the unique contributions of Indian philosophy. When a person reaches this high level of practice in Raj Yoga, he will be able to control his mind. He will be able to watch his own emotions. He will be able to observe his own feelings, and he will have perfect control on what is taking place in his mind, and he will have perfect control on what his senses are engaged in. So I'm very happy to be here. It's a great privilege to be able to interact with all of you. Namaskar. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Pranamastu.
Namaste, Swamiji. Thank you very much for your divine blessings on Raj Yoga. I'm sure that people from different parts of the world listening to this speech will be initiated with the concepts of Raj Yoga and will go for self inquiry with it. Thank you very much. We are blessed with you, Swami.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Swami Tattvamayananda ji for his enlightening discourse. Thank you so much.
Avneet Baid, a healthcare IT leader, is an acknowledged yoga trainer. She is one of the founder and director of the non-profit organization Project Self. She is a certified yoga instructor from the Ujjain Yoga Life Society, having completed a comprehensive ROIT 500 yoga teachers training under Pandit Radhesham Mishra's guidance. Deeply touched by the profoundness, depth and validity of the yogic traditions, Avneet is committed to bringing these teachings into the lives of as many people as possible. With this goal in mind, she conducts various programs focused on delivering the benefits of classical yoga. Welcome, Avneet ji.
Namaste, everyone. Thanks for joining me in this International Day of Yoga celebrations. As you have been all listening, the 8 limbs of yoga from our esteemed guests, I would like to invite you to actually practice the asana aspect of yoga. Asana is one of the very important part of eightfold of yoga. And it needs to be practiced every day, incorporated on your daily practices. And one of the asanas which has been very popularized these days is Surya Namaskar, which is a vinyasa flow, and it is a combination of 12 different poses. These different poses are actually practiced in several movements, which gives your spinal cord the whole amount of flexibility so that you can have a healthy body. As you have listened to all our speakers, that practicing any part of yoga is important in your everyday life. And practicing asanas gives you a healthy body. With healthy body, you have healthy mind. And we try to achieve the ultimate goal, which is happiness. So let's practice today Surya Namaskar. I will try to demonstrate these asana for you. If you have a mat, you can practice along with me, or you can just watch me and we will go ahead right into Surya Namaskar. The 12 positions, which is made up of 7 asanas. We'll start with first making sure that our body is completely aligned, straight, spine is straight, and completely focused. It is important that you practice with full focused mind. So to start with this, we come into the first pose, which is Sthit Prarthanasana. So we completely bring our feet together keeping the spine straight. Let's take a long deep breath in and breathe out. Let's take another deep breath in until we are completely focused. And breathe out. And now we will begin our 12 positions, starting from Sthit Prarthanasana. Taking our hands all the way up, bending backwards into Hast Uttanasana. Exhaling, straightening your spine. Straight away come and touch your toe into Hast Padasana. Making sure your legs are completely straight, your knees are straight. Exhaling, you push your body inside, head inside. Bring both hands onto the mat. Take your right leg back and left knee pushed forward, looking upward into Arshanchalasana. Exhaling, you come into downward position, which is called Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pushing your hips up and head inside. This helps you into taking your blood circulation all into your head. Walk back into, then come into Ashtanga Asana. Inhaling, go into Bhujanga Asana. Making sure you get a stretch on your lower back. Exhaling again, come into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Making sure your hips are raised and your head is inside. Bring your right leg forward between the hands. Look up into Arshanchalasana again. Then bringing both your legs together. Inhale and exhale. Coming into the starting position. Practicing all these rounds completely is very important, and understanding that where you are achieving that stretch across your entire spinal cords. It is very important that you practice asanas every day into your daily life to achieve a healthy body. Practicing Surya Namaskar by itself, several rounds, can give you that healthy spine and healthy mind. So please practice this every day, and you can also join me every morning, US time, 7 to 7:40 a.m. in Suprabhat Yoga. I hope you will be able to incorporate this practice into your daily life and enjoy rest of the sessions and this celebration of International Day of Yoga. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Avneet-ji, for sharing your views and thoughts on this International Day of Yoga. Thanks once again.
I'm privileged to announce our next eminent speaker, who is the specialist of Ayurveda. Please welcome Dr. Jose Ruge Ribeiro from Brazil. He is Doctor of Medicine specialized in intensive care and postgraduated in Ayurveda, Yogacharya by Sudha Dharma Mandalam. Dr. Jose Ruge is a president in institutions such as Sudha Yoga and Ayurveda, Kalayasa Ayurveda Clinics, Shri Vajra Foundations, Brahma Vidyalaya Yoga School, Sudha Sabha Yoga Ashram, and Annapurna Natural Foods. He is a coordinator of the Ayurveda postgraduate course of the Italiano Brasilia University, Brazil, and president of the World Yoga and Ayurveda Movement, Ayurveda Sector. He is also the member of the International Academy of Ayurveda, Pune, India, and a member of the editorial board of several international scientific journals. So put your hands together to welcome Dr. Jose Ruge Ribeiro.
Namaste. I'd like to thank for Dr. Tomar and our friend Swami Suryananda Amadio Bianchi the invitation for this important day, the commemoration of International Day of Yoga. And I would like to start invocating the blessing of Lord Dhanvantari, who represent all the natural methods of health in the world. The incarnation of Lord Vishnu to spread Ayurveda to the world. Please follow me, put your hands together in Pranam Mudra. Oh. Om Namo Bhagavate Dhanvantaraye Amrutakala Shahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokanataya Vishnave Swaha Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vaidyarajaya Dhimahi Tanno Dhanvantari Prachodayate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste. So, Ayurveda is not merely a health system, a sophisticated herbal medicine, a self-help system. It's the science of life, the science to explain how life works, fruit of the experience of the Vedic rishis on truth, promotes indoor and outdoor ecology, the harmonious relationship between the various parts that make up the individual and the individual with the whole. Body, mind, and soul are connected by prana, which is the intelligence that governs our functioning. Life is a flux with capture, transformation, and elimination on the physical, mental, and the spiritual level. Ayurveda has 3 levels of action. The first level of the body performs the therapy of opposite. It's called Yukti Vyapashraya, emphasizing nutrition, exercise, and medicinal plants, and some medicines with metals and minerals. The second level is the level of mind. We can start our problems, our disease, in the mind for the negative patterns. The therapy is increased sattva. The guna of sattva is called sattva vajaya, using the tools of yoga such as pranayamas, meditation, and mantras. Ayurveda and yoga, they are the only one science. The Ayurveda produces health. With this health, you can practice the contact with divinity, the contact with the truth, to liberation or moksha, to get the synthesis of all the margas like karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, Raja Yoga. You can do all different kinds of margas to get this contact with divinity. But for that, you need health, you need force, you need potence, you need virya, prabhava, no? At the soul level, because the soul can cause disease, can cause disturbation, because have some patterns negative inside, created by our karma. But you can change this with divine therapies, Divya Chikitsa, using Jyotish or Vedic astrology as a diagnostic and therapist tool with mantras, yagyas, and pujas. These three levels are the most complex system of health in all the levels produced by humanity till now. This great heritage from the rishis, from India, for all the world. This set constitutes the most complete, holistic, and integrative form of healing and health preservation, created in all times in its the heritage of Sanatana Dharma, or perennial wisdom in the world. In Brazil, our institutions are based on the Shuddha Dharma Mandalam. We create one ashram in the center of the country, one sampradaya of synthesis, knowledge, devotion, and action in synthesis by the yoga, which is based on synthesis yoga. In it, I was initiated 48 years ago, and I stand firm in sadhana in spiritual sadhana. Medicine was chosen as a profession, as an act of seva to the masters and humanity, and Ayurveda was incorporated into my life as the union of my scientific medical knowledge with my knowledge of Sanatana Dharma. Here in Brazil, we created an ashram where we perform daily pujas, yagyas, yoga sandhya, and all the practices of yoga and Vedic practices in all the methods of Vedic culture. We have a large plantation of medicinal plants cataloged in Ayurveda and other Brazilian plants that we research with the potential of Ayurvedic perspective. We produce medicines and food supplements according to the traditional of classic Ayurvedic tests. We create online school, and we have more than 4,000 Ayurvedic therapists in all the country, in many countries of South America, in Europe, in North America, to spread Ayurveda, because we understand Ayurveda have two great possibilities in the modern world. The first possibility, the first way of Ayurveda is for the prevention. We have very much frustration of prevention in our modern science. We create a very large technology in the modern medicine, but in the prevention we have many problems. For example, in 2002, we had 13 deaths per day because heart attack. Now, less than 10 years after, we have 60 deaths per minute. Per minute. One death per second because heart attack. Many deaths by cancer. We have the technology, but it's not enough to change this reality. Only three things are very important to change this reality. One is good food, good exercise, and peaceful mental state. Only these three things. And this is yoga and Ayurveda. Because that yoga and Ayurveda have many things to do for us. You can do all the efforts to put Ayurveda and yoga in the world. In the second is in treatment of degenerative disease. All the government, all the people spend a lot of money to treat this degenerative disease, but without good results. In my experience, of course, in the experience of many of institutions, when you put Ayurveda together with modern medicine or Ayurveda alone, we can change the prognosis of the many diseases. And of course, we are very happy with these possibilities. For that, I invite all of you in this important day to do all your efforts together, each one with your possibilities. Not only because we like in India and all the Indian culture, but because this is very important to change one very bad and suffering we are having now. In this COVID pandemic, Ayurveda have many things to do to help the people, to increase the immunity, to prevention, and to help to treat. Again, I would like to thank for all this group, conscientious, Dr. Tomar, and our friend Amadio Bianchi, Swami Suryananda for this invitation. And God bless all of us, all of you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ruge, for your presence and the way you explained the concept of Divya Chikitsa, connection of mind, body, and soul. The takeaway for me from your session, out of many, one will be take care of your food, be aware of doing regular exercise and the mental state. This is what Ayurveda and yoga puts together. And this is the long-term permanent remedy, mind over medicine. So we are so happy and pleased and full of gratitude with your presence. Thank you very much, Dr. Ruge.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Dr. Jose Ruge Ribeiro for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. Thank you so much, Dr. Jose.
Lord Buddha has rightly said, just as in candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without a spiritual life. Our honorable speaker truly justifies the quote, as his life is an inspiring journey for every person out here who would like to embrace spiritualism into their lives. Welcoming Sri Rajesh Rabindranath Ji with an heartfelt applause. He is a known expert of Vedanta, scriptures, yoga, and modern management. He has a keen inclination for Vedanta and scriptures since graduation, and his deep interest in spirituality took him on a never-ending journey of self-awareness and self-awakening. To attain his spiritual goal, he addresses in various programs, conferences, seminars in New Jersey, USA on Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta to bring out the message of Vedic scriptures in the light of modern science and management. He is also an esteemed co-founder of Project Self USA and is on a mission to enlighten, prepare, and grow people spiritually and guide them to understand and follow the real meaning of life. I am so privileged to welcome Sri Rajesh Rabindranath Ji to enlighten us with his deep and life-changing message.
Namaste, my dear friends. I'm so happy to be with all of you on the occasion of this 7th International Day of Yoga. As you know, this International Day of Yoga, a unique and creative idea of the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, has certainly helped to bring an heightened awareness of the true meaning of yoga among different practitioners. So typically what happens is when you talk about yoga, we hear about multiple disciplines of yoga. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, and usually we fail to understand that there is a common ground in all these practices. So during these conferences, we heard the different disciplines of yoga and the common practice. All these practices are a way of life that leading to a common goal. So today in this session, what we are going to do is have a quick understanding of one of the major disciplines of yoga known as Karma Yoga. So in the next 10 minutes, we will cover 3 topics. Why we need Karma Yoga, what is Karma Yoga, and how we can practice Karma Yoga. So these are the 3 topics we are going to cover. So without any delay, let's start with the first topic. Why do we need Karma Yoga? Friends, just think, our life is completely filled with actions or activities. Right from the day you born till your last breath, your life is nothing but a series of actions. The quality and the quantity of the actions we perform determines who we are, what we are, how we are doing in our life, and how we are seen by others. So it is extremely important that we need to look at these actions we perform, because the sum total of those actions is what is going to determine who you are and the quality of your life. So Karma Yoga is a way of life. It's a lifestyle change program which looks at your actions holistically and clearly guides you what actions I should do, what actions I should not do, and how I should do the action, and what should be my attitude towards the actions I do. So this Karma Yoga essentially spiritualize the entire domain of actions we do. So that is why this is probably one of the most important topic in the literature of yoga. This is the central teaching of the great scripture Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna focuses on this Karma Yoga very heavily because this practice is applicable to all the people and at all the time, because everybody wanted to be successful, everybody wanted to be stress-free, and everybody wanted to be a model of the world. So that's the reason why we need Karma Yoga. So this Karma Yoga, essentially, we are spiritualizing every action, not just the transactions we do with the God in a church or a temple or the mosque, but every mundane action, right from we wake up, brushing the teeth, taking a bath, going to work, earning for life, every action. How can we spiritualize? How can we make it efficient? How can we live a better life? That is the significance of Karma Yoga. Now comes to the second topic. If Karma Yoga is so critical in everybody's life, what is that Karma Yoga? Lord Krishna explains the Karma Yoga in simple terms in Bhagavad Gita. He tells proper work with proper attitude. This is a simple definition of Karma Yoga. Proper work with proper attitude. Let's try to understand what is proper work with proper attitude. So let's take the first part. What is proper work? When you look at the actions we do, the yoga metaphysics defines the scope of actions into 3 categories. It classifies the potential actions of any human being into 3 buckets. The first bucket is called tamasic action. It means the actions I might be the key beneficiary or I will be the key beneficiary, but I am breaking the law. I'm breaking the rules of ethics. I'm breaking the laws, or I'm breaking the rules of the land, or I'm hurting other people. I'm gaining something through some illegitimate means. I'm gaining something through some adharmic means. This is tamasic actions. And the second category of action is called rajasic actions. These actions, I would be the key beneficiary, no doubt, but I'm not breaking any law. I'm not breaking any law, I'm just earning for myself, but through legitimate means. That is known as rajasic actions. And the third category of actions is known as swatik actions. Here, I may or may not be the beneficiary, but my actions are legitimate and it is going to benefit a lot of other people. So once again, tamasic actions, rajasic actions, and swatik actions. Tamasic actions, for example, if I steal money, if I kill somebody, if I hurt somebody, if I cheat the IRS for the tax, all that comes under the tamasic actions. Karma Yoga tells you cannot do, you should stop doing tamasic actions. Next cases, the rajasic actions means I am the beneficiary, but I'm not breaking any rules. I'm not breaking dharma. For example, I work and earn for my family. I do work, I take care of my body, I take care of my family. That is completely legitimate. Karma Yoga tells you can continue to do the rajasic actions. Otherwise, it is nothing, means the life cannot be continued. There is nothing wrong in earning for yourself for the legitimate means. So that's not a problem. But along with that, Karma Yoga tells everybody has to include the swatik actions. Swatik actions means I may or may not be the beneficiary, but my actions are going to help other people. Supporting other human beings, taking care of the nature, not disturbing the harmony of the nature, studying and propagating the scriptures, taking care of your own family, worshipping the God. All these comes under the swatik actions. So what is proper work means one cannot do the tamasic actions. Yes, it is permittable to do the rajasic actions, but one should regularly perform swatik actions. So this part constitutes the first part of the definition of the Karma Yoga. Let's go to the second part. What is the proper attitude you are talking here? Proper attitude means even when you are performing your rajasic actions and swatik actions, which is permissible actions, proper actions, you should have a proper attitude. What is that proper attitude? That's where the yoga comes into the picture, the equanimity of your mind. Krishna brilliantly defines it as samatvam yoga muchyate. It is your equanimity of the mind. You are supposed to perform the action with a stable mind, with a calm mind, with a controlled mind. So how can I do that? Means that is we are going to see in the how part, but do the proper work. That means only rajasic and swatik actions, and you need to include swatik actions with an equanimous mind. This is the definition of Karma Yoga. Simple definition, proper work with proper attitude. Now comes to the third portion, which is how to do the Karma Yoga. Very simple. You just need to put a governance process in your life to make sure that this definition, which is the proper work with proper attitude, is maintained. So just be mindful of your actions and habits. It is very important. Just be mindful of your actions and habits and make sure that I'm not doing any tamasic actions. And I am consciously doing swatik actions. The swatik actions are mainly classified into 5. Supporting other human beings, known as Manushya Yajna. Supporting your family, known as Pitru Yajna. Supporting the other being, known as Bhuta Yajna. Worshipping the God or a higher ideal, it is known as Deva Yajna. And study and the propagation of the scripture, which is known as Brahma Yajna. So perform this. And then the difficult part. How can I be emotionally intelligent? How can I maintain that samatvam in my actions? Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita gives two simple techniques. One is said, whatever action you perform, offer that action as an offering to the God. Ishwara Arpana Buddhi. So instead of worshipping the God with a ritual, with a flower, or in an altar, your actions are going to be the worship. Whatever you do, that becomes the worship of the God. Yat pravritti bhutanam yena sarvamitam tatam swakarmanat todarchasya siddhim vindati manava. 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna gives this brilliant definition. Whatever actions you do, just offer that as an offering to the God. Ishwararpanam nechaya kritam. Ramana Maharshi beautifully summarizes that in his book called Upadesha Saram. So this is what the Ishwararpana Buddhi. And when you truly believe in that Ishwara, when you know that Ishwara, who is the intelligent order of the universe, when you trust him, there is no place for worry and anxiety. It is very important, right? When a small child is not afraid, when her father or the mother is around. Why? Because the child is 100% confident that the father and mother is going to take care of me. Just like that, when we surrender to the universal father or the mother, with a faith that he is going to take care of me, irrespective of all the challenges, that is going to give me that immense strength and confidence. And with that confidence, I can get above my worry and anxiety. So that is the Ishwararpana Buddhi. And having performed the best, whatever you get as the result, take that with an equanimity. This is known as Prasada Buddhi. Prasada Buddhi means take the results you get out of the action as an offering from Ishvara. When you go to a temple or when you go to a church, what you get as the prasada, you don't check whatever you get. Whatever you get, take it as Ishvara's blessing and take care of this. So when you follow this Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi, eventually you will get a stable mind and a calm mind. So this is how you perform Karma Yoga. This Karma Yoga, so we talked about three aspects. Why we need Karma Yoga? Because our life constitutes but actions. It's important that we spiritualize these actions so that these actions will be efficient and it is going to be effective and it is going to make me a better person and it is going to lead me to the higher goals of life. That is why Karma Yoga is extremely important. And what is Karma Yoga? It is proper work with proper attitude. What is proper work? You're not doing any tamasic action and you're doing sattvic action along with rajasic action. What is proper attitude? Proper attitude means it is maintaining the equanimity of the mind while you perform the action and whenever you get the results. And how can you perform the action? Be mindful and avoid any tamasic actions or habits from our life in a systematic way. And then perform swatik actions consciously. And that swatik actions constitute Panchamahayajna, which is Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Manusha Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Brahma Yajna. And then whatever you do perform, offer that as an act, means worship, make it as an offering to God. And whatever you get as result, accept it as a prasada. And this Karma Yoga can give a lot of benefits in us. It makes our actions extremely efficient. Yoga Karma Sukhavishalam. It can make our even the material goal highly successful. You don't need to be doing something externally for worshipping the God. Rather, you spiritualize your entire scope of life. This is the nutshell of Karma Yoga. It's not an isolated compartment from the entire scheme of yoga, but it perfectly fits in with the overall framework of yoga, and it is extremely important that everybody practices Karma Yoga. With this, let me conclude. Thank you very much and have a blessed day.
We thank Shri Rajesh Rabindranath Ji for his beautiful explanation. Thank you so much.
Leo Tolstoy quoted that One of the first conditions of happiness is that the link between man and nature shall not be broken. The quote fits to introduce our next event, which is a panel discussion. The topic of today's panel discussion is "We are the future of the planet." Our first panelist is Mr. Emmanuel Jal. He has started his life as a child soldier in the war-torn region of southern Sudan in the early 1980s. After a huge number of struggles, he became a successful and acclaimed artist and peace ambassador. His strong message is reconciliation and peace, and has addressed the UN, US Congress, the Carter Center, and the very highest level of several governments. In 2008, a documentary, War Child, on his life was released, which won 12 prestigious film festival awards worldwide. He has released 6 awards-nominated studio albums: Not the Key, Ceasefire, War Child, and See Me Mama. He has collaborated and performed alongside artists such as Lauryn Hill, Xavier Root, Peter Gabriel, etc. He co-starred with Reese Witherspoon in The Good Life. The film made its debut to rave reviews at the Toronto International Film Festival before being released. During his career, he has been involved with a number of global charity organizations, including the British Council, the Child Soldier Initiative, and many more. In 2010, he released We Want Peace campaign for peace, protection, and justice for all of Sudan, as well as calling for an end of all conflicts that affect innocent people around the world. For his outstanding commitment to peace building, he has been awarded Václav Havel International Prize for Creative Dissent 2018, Hero in the Global Campaign Against Violent Extremism, UNESCO 2016, The Hunt Humanitarian Award, etc. He was the Young Global Leader for the World Economic Forum, and he has performed at the G20 Summit in Mexico. Our next panelist is Ms. Rahim Fatima from Pakistan. She is a multi-talented personality. She is a peace and climate change activist, stand-up comedian, theatre actress, aspiring entrepreneur, SDGs ambassador and interviewer. During pandemic, she has conducted over 500 interviews and sessions to foster global peace and achievement of SDGs. She is a gifted child and possesses extraordinary intellect and communication skills. She is a keen learner and quickly understands new concepts and knowledge. She is very adaptive and easygoing. She is culturally aware and easily makes friends with people from diverse backgrounds. She has a passion to work for people and planet. She is ambitious to take her work globally by creating teams and collaborations for making global peace dream a reality. Her immediate aim is to synergize all peace efforts at one place involving all stakeholders across the globe. She believes nothing else but interfaith, intercultural, international dialogue can pave the way for global peace. Our next guest is one whose passion is to become a voice for the voiceless, inspiring hearts and minds and mobilizing mindset. She is the one who realized the problem of the universal feeling of powerlessness in the face of our planet's messiest problem. I am privileged to welcome Clover Hogan, a 21-year-old climate activist, researcher on eco-anxiety, and the founder of Force of Nature. At 16, Clover was lobbying decision makers at Paris climate meeting when she realized that the threat greater even than climate change was the feeling of powerlessness in the face of it. She made it her mission to mobilize mindsets. After graduating from the Green School in Indonesia, Clover worked with Impossible Foods alongside the whole world's leading authorities on sustainability and within the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies before launching Force of Nature. Clover is also campaign strategist for @My Core Solution, serves as a trustee of Global Action Plan and is on the advisory board of the National Community Lottery Climate Action Fund. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, everybody. We welcome and acknowledge presence of Clover Hogan from UK. We acknowledge presence of Raheen Fatima from Pakistan, and we acknowledge presence of Emmanuel Jel from Sudan and Canada. Dear friends, and we also welcome our audience coming from 56 countries of the world in this grand occasion of International Yoga Day celebration. We are going to discuss on a very important topic. We are the future of the planet. And as you all can see, we have future of the planet in front of us. So let me embark the discussion from raising first simple question, though it is not that simple, but still, Clover Hogan, how do you see the future of the planet? If I say, what is the planet of your dreams? If God tells you, whatever you say, so may it be, what kind of planet, what kind of world you dream of? Over to you.
Thank you for having me, and delighted to be joining this incredible panel of young, inspiring change makers. For me, it's a world where we are not disconnected from nature, nor are we disconnected from community, nor from ourselves. It's a world where we live within planetary boundaries, where we no longer commodify the natural world nor exploit frontline communities. And of course, it's a dream of peace as well. It's a world where we live in unity and we don't allow things like borders to get in the way of global equity.
Wow. So Clover sees a world which is beyond borders, connected with nature, completely in peace with self and surroundings. Amazing. Now let me come to Emmanuel Jel. What is your dream planet? If everything will happen the way you want it to happen, you have had your own part of struggle in your early childhood. What kind of planet you dream of?
Well, as a kid, I found two things that were fascinating in my life. When I imagine my future in a negative way, it terrifies me. It shut me down. It snatched the joy, the little strengths that I have. But when I imagine my future in a positive way, I get excited. So I would imagine myself as a kid that time to be a doctor. And I'll see how is that like to be a doctor. And in my head, and I live there and I enjoy it. The next day I want to be a pilot. And then I imagine how is it like to be a pilot. And so through the imagination, up to now is how I simplify it. Is I had that basic, simple thing to be a part of a solution. And we know how our life is today. And each one of us is to set yourself that one big, audacious goal, like a big goal that I can imagine when you're imagining it. And I look at it as the best gift I can give this world is not achieving that goal, but the journey of who I become in that process is what I look as the gift for the world.
Wow. So Emmanuel Jel says that a world where every child can dream positively because it excites a child and there should not be any fear in dreams. He also said that a world which is a part of a solution rather than part of the problem, and who you become in your journey is more important than achieving the goal actually, because what you cultivate yourself into, you yourself become a gift to the world. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Joel. Now we'll ask from Raheen Fatima, what is the world of your dreams, Raheen?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure. And so the world of my dreams is where everybody respects each other, loves each other, takes care of each other, regardless of their race, their religion, their caste, their creed, their professional backgrounds, and where we do not judge anybody by which generation or the age they're from, and there's intergenerational harmony. And when we're unified, as I think nobody more than you would agree, is when we can find the solutions and actually make the world of all of our dreams and make that dream come true.
Thank you very much. Raheen dreams of a world which is full of mutual respect without judgments. Nobody likes to be judged, but still we end up judging others. Raheen sees a world beyond limited boundaries, divisions. She said that we should appreciate diversity, but we should stop divisions. So, and she also mentioned about intergenerational harmony, a harmonious world. Amin. So may it be. Whatever all three of you said, may whosoever is there in the heaven, up there in the sky, may grant us that kind of world. Now, my second question, as the discussion will grow, questions will become more intriguing. So, this is a dream world we are thinking of. What are the major challenges, Clover? Why this world is not the way? When in such an early age, you can see the world should be like this. Why can't people like me, or maybe people who are at the helms of affairs, why can't they see that? Why world is not like that? What are the major challenges, Clover, to achieve that world? What are the problems or challenges? Over to you.
Thank you. I'm loving how meta these questions are. It's great. So I think people from all corners of the world, regardless of their upbringing or background, care and want to care about the world's problems, but are often not empowered to care. And I think this largely comes down to the cultural narratives and stories that we are conditioned with. I think there are lots of stories that keep us feeling really disempowered, that normalize these kind of broken systems that are the reason why we have things like the climate crisis, and that actually inhibit us from imagining what an alternative might look like. And I think we can forget that these huge complex systems are ultimately fictions that lots of us, choose to subscribe to. My favorite is, the example of capitalism, right? We think of the economic system as completely impermeable and unchangeable. And yet, if you pull, a $10 bill out of your wallet, it doesn't have any inherent value, right? You try and trade that $10 note with a monkey for a banana, and they'll, look at you like you're crazy. So I find that very empowering on some level, because I realize that what we're lacking is a story and a narrative that is compelling enough to actually bring us toward an alternative, one where we do keep within planetary boundaries, one where we do look after one another and look after ourselves. And I think this is where I see that young people are at a unique advantage to be real disruptors to the system, because we haven't been around long enough for society to kind of clip the wings of our imaginations. And so it's much easier for us to think, okay, what can alternative look like to the way that we do business or policy or the way that we vote? I think one of the biggest barriers is that a lot of people in positions of power have been conditioned to certain stories for so long that it's very difficult for them to get outside of their own echo chamber and think, well, here's how we could actually do something differently. So in many ways, I think that conflict and the climate crisis are really a crisis in imagination. What could we actually do differently? What could we do better? And so I think we can begin to dismantle some of those barriers by bringing a diversity of perspectives into these rooms and into these spaces, and actually shaking up the people who are kind of governing our lives and reinforcing some of those unhelpful stories.
Thank you. I want whole world to know this, that this discussion is completely spontaneous. Majority of them I'm meeting for the first time in life. So they don't know what I'm going to ask. I don't know what they can say. Even they must have not have thought about the questions that I will be imposing. So even I'm enjoying it very much. So Clover said that everybody wants to care, but the problem is people are not empowered. And the problem why they are not empowered are their own cultural narratives and stories that people have. It appears she wants to say that we are the victims of the victims. Our parents heard stories, they told us stories, we keep on telling stories and stories after stories, and some of the stories are fictions. And then she said that conditioning of these stories really disempower us, and there is a crisis of imagination, something new. And to add to your point, Clover, NASA conducted a research. I wanted to tell everybody of you that research says that at the age of 5, a child is 98% imaginative. At the age of 10 years, the same child remains 33% in imagination. At the age of 15 years, it reduced to 12%. And at my age, it is left with only 2%. So when people have a group photograph with this, they actually are saying only 2% imaginations are left. So probably this is what Clover is saying, that people need to shake the people in power, and so that we may arise and awake in more imaginative solutions of the present problems. Raheen, what's your take on that? Why world is not the way it should be?
Well, I definitely do agree with Clover, and I think it is how weak our communication can get a lot of times. I mean, we've been blessed with the power to communicate through many things. Now it's also texting and emojis and GIS, but most importantly, it's how we speak. And still, we are not able to get that strong communication game on, because I see a lot of times like the news is going on, the media is going on, and from the entire conversation, they pick up one line and they put that one on, not the entire conversation, because that's, the controversial statement or something. And that's, I mean, I see a lot of countries with each other, and I'm like, I think there's a conflict. And then it's also the problem of generalizing, that based on whatever information that we get from the media or whatever has been communicated to us through whatever, even WhatsApp forward messages, people believe it. Trust me, they do. And you believe it, and then you start generalizing that somebody is from a certain country or from a certain background, religious background or professional background or a caste or a creed. Then you start generalizing on that person is from another place, they're always bad, or they're always so good, or they're always judging, or they're always like that. I think then when you generalize based on the information that we get, knowing the communication is very strong, that's what creates a lot of problems that lead to war or conflict or just judging each other in our hearts, which is a very, very big problem.
Thank you. I'm very happy about your specific answers, all three of you. It really impresses me. Raheen said that communication is a power, but somehow we are not able to use it powerfully, because communication is either misunderstood or it is misconstrued. So that's why she said that the reason is people have their own stereotypes, they generalize things. And again, connecting to Clover, people have heard some stories from their childhood, and the stories that they heard depends on the place they are born, and they have not chosen where they will be born. So if you'll be born this side of the boundary or that side of the boundary, you will get different stories to listen to. So maybe this is the reason that she mentioned about it. Now we'll ask the same question from Emmanuel Gel. Why world is not the way you think it should be? What is the problem? What do you see is the problem?
Well, our lives are shaped by the stories we hear, and our success depends on the stories we are told. So if we look at how we are today, the heroes that we have that shapes our lives wrote the history. We're in a situation whereby the winner comes with the rules to which our lives are governed by. And for example, and if you're on the losing side, if they tell you you are a dog and you say I'm a human being, you get your head chopped off. And then And then the only way to survive is to accept you're a dog. And by the time you go on, maybe you have a revelation. You realize, hey, I'm a human being. I have 2 legs and hands, and I talk, and I'm blood. I have like you. You pick up a fight to fight for your right. And eventually, maybe you get a stalemate. They tell, okay, if you don't have to continue fight, now you're a human being. We accept you're a human being, but you're going to be paid $2 an hour, but I'll earn $1 million an hour. What do you say about that? And then you look at it, okay, $2 is better than before. And then by the time you realize, I want more. And so the way I look at it is, we don't know who we are until we have something. I look at it, each one of us has a gift. Today I almost cried when I look at my life. How did I come here? All I had was just, I want to be a part of a solution, imagining something that I can do and practicing it at that level and giving it. So the way I look at it is, in order to see the future we want to see, it has to begin with us. You can only give what you have. If the cup of water is empty, that's what you give. So each one of us need to know their dream. What is that big audacious goal that they want to bring? What is that thing they want to create? As you said, imagination. Seriously, in imagination, innovation, creativity, creative thinking. What is it? What is that big goal that you have in mind? And then your purpose will be for your heart. So your big goal is your dream. And what is your mission? Your mission is for your hand. So basically identifying a skill that you can develop every day and consistently contribute with that. Because in that little steps that we make, we can create that big change. So the change that we want to see in the world begin with us.
Thank you. So Emmanuel Gell said that he also took the narrative that, yes, there are stories, and those heroes, they shape our lives. And as they say, till lion does not understand how to write and speak, all the stories will be sung in the name of the perpetrator. So we need to learn how to write and read our own stories. And then he also mentioned that winners comes with the rules. And it reminds me of a book I read, that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal. And these selective definitions of equality really makes world more complicated. But then Emmanuel said that you should know what your dreams are. Be specific about it, and on daily basis, ... long enough. Whatever you want to do it regularly, ... anything, but do it long enough. Then only you will be able to write your own story in a good way. So now, with your answer, Emmanuel, let's go to the third round of my question, which is the most important round. And as I told you, as the discussion progresses, questions will be more deep. So we understood about the dream. We understood about the obstacle. Now the difficult question is, as you said, let's write our own stories. Stories which we want generations to come to read. That there were people who imagined differently. There were some people who spoke differently. There were some people who stood distinctively. I know it is a difficult question which I am going to ask, because many of the presidents of the nations may not answer it with full conviction. But still, I am taking chance to ask this question from all three of you, because I can see future of the planet in you. Clover, we know the dream, we know the problems. Now, what should be the action items? How should you proceed? Give me 2 tips, 2 things that world should really focus and start doing it today onwards in this International Day of Yoga. What are those things? If Clover be the Secretary General of United Nations or the President of any mighty nation, what Clover will do? 2 things.
Oh, 2 things. All right. I'll try and keep it short and sweet, although I struggle with that. So the first on this theme of stories would be to reflect on which stories keep you feeling disempowered. So every day at Force of Nature, we work with students in over 50 countries, helping them understand what those stories are. And we hear a lot of them on repeat, from I'm too small to make a difference to the system is too broken to create change, or people don't care, or it's too late. You know, all of these stories that kind of keep us trapped within the current problem. And so on an individual level, I think beginning to reflect on, you know, when are those moments I've wanted to take action in response to injustice, or I've wanted to speak up on behalf of another person and haven't, and what was that thing inside me that stopped me, the inner critic or that self-limiting story. So I think starting the self-reflection there, and then in tangible terms of being able to step up and make a difference, I think focus is really, really important. Often we can feel incredibly overwhelmed because there are so many issues and so many challenges, right? You go online for 5 seconds and you're kind of inundated with doomsday headlines of problems happening in every corner of the world. Yet I think everyone who is on this call is kind of testament to the power and impact of focus, of saying, this is the problem that I really want to own. So my second piece of advice would be to connect to that problem, whether it is prison reform or plastic pollution or fast fashion or social inequity, and think, what is that problem that ignites a fire within my belly? And then how can I show up with my unique skills and talents and gifts to actually solve that problem? And I think this is really key because we often focus on how the climate crisis, for example, is a symptom of many interconnected problems. And yet it's also the best invitation we've ever had as a society to rethink so much of how we live and breathe and exist. So what does a world look like in which we've solved each of these problems? And once you find that focus, you also find your power.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So simple, but so strong what you said, Clover. She said that remove all these disempowering stories. People are full, people online, internet, everything is full of self-critic and such stories. So part one of our advice is start with self-reflection, focus and step out. What you want to do, be very clear about it. So first, be clear what you want to do, focus. And second, whatever problem of the world which puts your belly on fire, go and fight for it. So simple, but so strong steps she suggested. It reminds me of the definition of greatness. The definition of greatness is when a person understanding the problems of his times puts planned efforts in their solutions, then that person is great. Greatness does not depend on his ability to achieve that objective or not. At least he tried. So thank you very much, Clover, for your inputs. I know I have been very critical with you because every new question I fire on you. You get no time at all, but fine, that's perfectly fine. Now I'll come to Emmanuel Gel with the same question. Yes, what is the solution?
Well,
Two-step process, any two things, yes, any two things that you would like to suggest to all teenagers, all elders, everybody in the world, what two things we should do today, whatever comes to your mind.
Before I'll just say thank you for your, I just really enjoy the way you bring these questions, and I love how everybody's coming with some unique answers. What I'll say is great people create circumstances that create their life. Ordinary people allow their circumstances to create the life they don't want. So basically here, what I want to say is let's fall in love with our problems and accept them as our mission, a gift the universe has given us. Hey, this is your mission. So remember how big that problem is. Now, that has helped me with my child. So all your history, every terrible thing that happening to you and everything that happening, that's a mission you've been given, because fire mold things. So that your problems are to make you to become the best you should be. So let's fall in love with our problems. That's number one. Number two, what I would say is find your purpose. You know, your purpose It's whatever you do that gives you joy. And in that, it will teach you different things. When I say that there's so many things in the purpose, and one of the pillars is belief. There is courage. There's many benefits what your purpose can teach you. It will also show you what your vision is. It expands your imagination. When I came to Canada, I came with nothing. I just wanted to be a part of a solution. And believing in it, it made me build a world that I couldn't possibly imagine.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Gel. He rightly said that he brought a very important perspective that great people create circumstances. And he said there are 2 tips that he has to give to the world, to everybody around. Fall in love with the problems, but because problems are basically opportunities, and make them your missions of life. This is what made Mahatma Gandhi. This is what made Nelson Mandela. This is what made Abraham Lincoln. This is what made Martin Luther King what Martin Luther King was. They all had problems, and they converted those problems in missions, because fire molds you. And in yoga, we call it tapas. Tapas means the fire. Fire in the belly, Clover said. Fire around, Emmanuel said. So fire is must. And then second option he said is find the purpose of your life, because purpose brings that fire in the belly. If you have no purpose, there is no fire. And if there is no fire, you can't do anything. So find the purpose of your life. You will be living every single day. And even if you die in that purpose, you'll be happily going away from the planet that you did whatever you could have. Amazing answer. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Now we go to Raheen Fatima. Your 2 tips to the world over. 56 nations participants have registered in this event. World is watching you. Tell me, Raheen.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I really appreciate what Clover and both Emmanuel said. It was amazing. And I, too, encourage everybody to, really just go crazy and explore their options thoroughly, because, that time of when you're exploring would never come again. And then when it's past, and then you're doing something you don't love, which ultimately just leads to gloom and doom and all the negative adjectives and stuff. So I would say, yes, find your passion, find something that you want to do, explore, and go crazy, go nuts. That's actually a very nice thing. But always know that it's not that you'll do it after you're 18. You can't wait for that time, because, I mean, for me, when it started was that I was like, will I live up to 18? That was the question. Will I live up to that? Will I get to do that? When I saw my brother there, he was very, very sick, and I saw him and I was like, I don't know if I do. So I'm going to start right now. So I die satisfied and being founded my passion, working on it, helping people with it. And that's what I would say to do. Do it right now, because, no one can guarantee life. Nobody can. So, and the second thing is to communicate really effectively. That's something whatever to you seems like I am communicating effectively, state the facts, talk firmly, all of that. Because when you just, do a little, here and there in your sentences or in your facts, it can mess a lot of things up. And some people, the stories that we've heard and we've seen and we've witnessed, we see that some, things here and there with some information, and that has consequences, even in personal life, even if it's not 2 nations going ballistic, but it has consequences nonetheless.
Thank you. Raheen said that she mentioned 4 things, and I loved all 4 things, Raheen. She said, be passionate. And another thing she said is so philosophical, but practically correct. Do it now. You never know whether you are going to take next breath or not. So whatever you have in your mind, do it now. This is the right time to do. And another thing, whatever you do it for higher purpose that should help others, and communicate effectively. The lion of truth should roar so high that the jackals of problems should run away. And as they say in economics, good money puts bad money out of the market, and bad money puts good money out of the market. So let's kindle a light so that all darkness can be removed. So Dear friends from all parts of the world, let's conclude our discussion. We had Clover saying this, that she is the voice of the voiceless. And she said that she dreams of a world with full of nature, collective community, peace, unity, world beyond borders. And for that, she said the problem is we are not enough empowered. Everybody wants to care, but we are not empowered. The reason is our cultural narratives, stories. We are victims of victims, and in the fictions we live. And we need, as a solution, we need to disrupt this and break these conditioning. This is a crisis of imagination, and we need to have some empowering stories. And for that, we need to do first self-reflection, focus, and then step out. And then connect with the fire in the belly. Whatever your life feels like, that I really am incarnated on the planet for this purpose. Like Martin Luther King used to say, even if I die for this purpose, it is worth it. So once you understand your purpose of life, she said, and then start working for it. Then we have Raheen Fatima. She said that world with mutual respect, divine beyond divides, a world which will not judge each other, intergenerational harmony, international harmony. And this is a kind of world. But the problem is poor communication, misunderstood communication, stereotypes, and too much generalizing of things on the basis of the stories we heard. And the solution is, she said, first, identify your passion. Second, do it now. You don't know whether next breath you will take or not. Help others, whatever you do. This is the difference between animals and human, that human have that more capacity that we can really think much big beyond ourselves. Though even animals think beyond themselves, but then we are human, we should think all the more. And last, she said that communicate effectively, roar so loud that world will listen to you what you want to say. And then we have Emmanuel. He said that the problem in the world is that people, majority, are the part of this problem. So the solution is, we really need to be part of the solution, have a big goal, and make your journey inclined towards it. He said that the stories world over is shaped by the heroes. Winners dictates the rules, and they comes with the rules. As they say, some animals are equal. All animals are equal, but some are more equal. So it is most important that know your dream. And he also mentioned daily start working on that. And as a solution, he said that fall in love with the problems. Problems are there to mold you. And without a problem, what will be the objective of your life? Swami Vivekananda used to say that if you start walking in morning and you find no problem, probably you are on the wrong walk, wrong track. So problem tells you that you are being chosen to the right track. And then he said, find your purpose of life, because it will make you flow. So till you will live in flow. And the day you say sayonara, bye-bye to the world, you'll go in peace that you did whatever you could have. So dear friends, I am so inspired, and I just could wish that in your age, Raheen, I could have thought so much. In your age, Clover, in your age, Emmanuel, I could have thought so much. I guess people who are watching from all parts of the world must also be inspired. We can only wish that all your dreams should come true. And I promise you, as a global convener of United Consciousness stands firm with all three of you and with all global change makers like you. I will contact you after this communication, after this panel discussion, because so many things to share and learn from each other. United Consciousness greets you Global Yoga Day. Yoga itself stands for union, connection beyond divides. So let's connect all our dreams to create a world which is smiling as all three of you are smiling. Thank you very much. Honored to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm feeling happy and excited to welcome our next performer, Mr. Dariush Zerbafian. He's PhD in musicology from University of Toulouse-Limeral, France. He is member of the scientific research team of University of Toulouse, member of the French Society of Ethnomusicology of France. He is professor of the Faculty of Arts Music Department, Université de Mortain. Two of his original compositions are Iranian Model Music, Iranian percussions. His major publications include the Music Learned Iranian, Contribution to the Analysis of Mondic Systems and Metrics, published by Diffusion, ANRT, Reproduction of Thesis, University Yale. He has performed in various international concerts and shows in Canada, France, Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, Germany, Holland, Iran. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and please welcome Mr. Dariush Zarbafian. On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Dariush Zarbafian for his accelerating performance. Thank you so much. I feel delighted to welcome our next performance from Peru. The artists are associated with Paradigma, a cultural association that operates in Italy and Peru in the collaboration with the Club Libruta Association and the Sita Mondo Association. The upcoming dance is suggested by Mr. Carlos Wilg, who is associated with Sita Mondo for 18 years. They are spreading the Peruvian culture and the Marinera, the extraordinary and elegant national dance of Peru. In the performance, the couple is expressing romantic courtship of man towards woman. The two partners move with sinuous movements between complicit glances, approaching and moving away, turning around with skillful steps like the special zapateo. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the performance from Sita Mondo. On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank the performance from Sita Mondo, which is a beautiful dance performance of Peru. Thank you so much. I'm glad to welcome Ms. Roberta Reggetti and Barbara Zoletto. The duo has made the musical group Eva Om Deva, which was created with the intention of spreading the ancient spirituality of Indian literary music art. She interprets sacred music of Christian origin with original arrangements that combines different traditions, spiritual of the world. Roberta is a violinist, singer of vernissage of the concerts for various of cultural events. Her spectrum varies from pop music to classical to meditative to Indian sacred music. She's graduated from the Conservatorio B. Marcello in Venice. Barbara is an Indian singing teacher and concert performer. She dedicates her music and singing with psychophysical well-being. She has dedicated herself exclusively to Indian singing, which is deepened both in Italy and in the Indian subcontinent several traditions. She graduated and specialized in Dhrupad Indian singing in the Venice Conservatory of Music with Emilia Cuny. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Eva Om Deva Group.
Namaste. Namaste. By Eva Om Deva, Roberta Reggetti, Barbara Zoletto. We welcome you on United Consciousness International Yoga Day, organized by United Consciousness Global. We present you a small mantra in Radha Malkams.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Roberta Reggetti and Ms. Barbara Zoletto for their mesmerizing performance. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to welcome and introduce our next guest, Mr. Merkan Dede from Turkey. He is Montreal-based musician, producer, DJ who believes that by putting together the digital electronic sounds along with handmade human sounds, we can create the universal language capable of uniting old and young, ancient and modern, east and west. He, with his instrument, produces magical trance melodies. Many great international artists appear as guest musicians both in his albums and concerts. He studied journalism and has deep inclination towards photography. He debuted as Mercandede in 1995 when he released as his first album Sufi Dreams, recorded for Golden Horn Records in San Francisco. He moved to Montreal where he first studied, then taught at Concordia University. He formed his first group in 1997 and created recordings like Journey of a Dervish, Golden Horn 1999, Sahafne Double Moon 2001 and Nar Double Moon 2002. In 2001, he performed at the highly acclaimed Montreal Jazz Festival. He is commissioned by the Turkish Ministry of Culture as the music director of the Guldistan Project. He also released Water 2005 and Bread 2006 album, which both topped the BBC World Music. So with a huge applause, please welcome Mercandede.
kadehleri aşk ile. Kadehimiz candır, hepimiz bir can. İçelim de aklımız çıksın baştan. Doldur Sufi kadehleri aşk ile. Diyar-ı Masiva'dan geliriz biz. Evvel tek idik, şimdi bir olduk biz. Uyardık, uyurduk, uyandık aşka. Doldur Sufi, ah yanıyor içim. Gel dedi sultanımız, geldik işte. Küfreden eylem etmesin şikayet. Şükür biz de aşık olduk nihayet. Dolduk dedi yürekleri aşk ile.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Mirkan Dede for his wonderful performance. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to welcome our next guest from Buenos Aires, Argentina, Acharya Vasudevananda Nestor Cesarani. Since childhood, he was inclined towards spiritual knowledge. In 2002, his yogic journey started by learning Tibetan yoga of Buddhist origin, Hatha Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Nidra Yoga integral, Karunta Yoga, Raj Yoga, and others, as well as specializing in Zen, Siastu, Abhigyanam, Ayurvedic massage, Hindu meditation, yoga therapy, and Ayurveda. Later, he met great master Dr. Jose Ruge, Swami Narayanananda, and also obtains the title of educator in Ayurvedic health through the American Institute of Vedic Studies, Boston, USA. He is director of Hari Om International School of Yoga and Ayurveda with 22 locations in Argentina and 5 in Colombia. In 2030, he obtained the recognition of Yogacharya by Yoga Alliance International, based in New Delhi, led by Swami Vidyanand, Foundation President of that institution and member of Shri Aurobindo Education Society. In 2015, he received the initiation to Sudha Dharma Mandalan by his master Swami Narayanananda Saraswati. In April 2020, he was appointed Regional Director for Latin America of the WYF World Yoga Federation. In March 2021, he joined the Board of Directors of the World Movement of Yoga and Ayurveda Secretary Council. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vasudevananda.
Namaste.
Namaste.
En principio vamos a iniciar con un mantra. Convoco a todos a colocar las manos en el centro de su corazón. Oh. Sahana Bhavantu Sahanu Munaktu Sahaviryam Karavahavahe Tejasvina Vaditamastu Madvidvi Javahe Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Yortirvamaya Mrityormahamritat gamaya. Om Loka Samastaha Sugino Bhavantu. Loka Samastaha Sugino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Good afternoon. Namaste. En principio, quiero agradecer la invitación a este maravilloso evento de Consciousness United que hizo posible durante todos estos días, y a su organizador, el Dr. Bikram. Es un verdadero honor estar hoy aquí compartiendo con todos ustedes estos maravillosos conocimientos y guía de vida que el yoga nos aporta.
First, I want to thank the invitation to this wonderful event that Consciousness United made possible during all these days, and his organizer, Dr. Bikram. It's a real honor for me to be here sharing with you all the knowledge and life guide yoga provides us.
Mi tema hoy va a ser Asteya, y para eso vamos a iniciar preguntándonos, ¿qué es Asteya?
I will develop today is Asteya. Thus, we start by asking ourselves these questions. What is Asteya?
Asteya es el tercer llama del yoga dentro de los principios éticos.
Asteya is the third yama within the ethical principles.
Significa no robar, pero en la práctica se refiere a la satisfacción resultante de no necesitar tomar de los demás lo que no te pertenece, y para ello se requiere mucha confianza y autoconocimiento.
It means do not steal, though in practice it refers to the resulting satisfaction of not taking the others what does not belong to me. For that end, it is required a lot of trust and self-knowledge.
No solo nos referimos a objetos o cosas que no son nuestros, sino también a los pensamientos, ideas y sueños de otros.
We do not only refer to objects or things that do not belong to us, but also to the fears or dreams of the others.
El sentimiento de que algo nos falta, de que somos incompletos, que tiene que ver con no saber quiénes somos, porque en nuestro yo supremo hay plenitud y nunca falta.
It is the feeling that there is something we lack, that we are incomplete, insufficient, that has to do with the fact of not knowing who we really are, because our higher self, wholeness, resides in there, and nothing is missing.
Muchas veces pensamos, no soy lo suficientemente bueno para tal o cual cosa.
Many times we think that I am not good enough at this or at that.
La necesidad de robar surge esencialmente por la falta de fe en ti mismo para poder crear lo que necesitas por ti mismo.
The need to steal usually comes from the lack of faith in yourself to be able to create what you really need for yourself.
En el momento en que sentimos una sensación de carencia en la vida, surge el deseo, la necesidad, la codicia.
At the moment we feel the sense of insufficiency in life, wish, need, and greed arise.
Empezamos a buscar algo para llenar esa sensación de vacío, y a menudo sentimos que todos los demás tienen lo que nosotros queremos.
We start to look for something that can cover that sense of insufficiency, of emptiness, and usually feel that all the others have is what we want.
Carencia inseguridad, deseo, sensación de estar incompleto.
Scarcity, insecurity, wish, that feeling of being incomplete.
Todos hemos transitado en algún momento por ahí. Esa sensación de que nos falta algo que nos lleva a una total infelicidad.
All of us have experienced at a certain moment of our lives that feeling that there is something we do not have, what leads us to a complete unhappiness.
¿Cómo poner Astella en tu día a día?
How can we take Asteya to our everyday life?
Cuando aún no confiamos o no tenemos desarrollada nuestra voz interna, nuestra esencia, es muy fácil asumir las ideas de los demás como propias y de alguna forma acabar pensando que son nuestras a pesar de que en la mayoría de los casos no nos sintamos bien adoptándolas.
How can we take it to our everyday life when we still do not trust in ourselves or when we haven't yet developed our inner voice, our essence? It's very easy to assume the other's ideas as if they were of our own. And in some way, we end up thinking they belong to us, even though we can feel bad when putting them into practice.
Así en nuestro día a día muchas veces robamos los pensamientos de los demás con el objetivo de cambiar la percepción que puedan tener sobre nosotros.
In some way in our everyday life, we sometimes steal the thoughts of the others in the pursuit of changing their perception of ourselves.
La pregunta es ¿cómo?
The question is how.
Cuando nos justificamos, recuerda que quien te quiere no necesita tu justificación. Te quiere sin más por ser lo que eres, por ser tú. Cuando halagamos para que piensen bien de nosotros mismos, cuando nos sentimos atacados y necesitamos defendernos.
When we justify ourselves, remember that the person who loves you does not need your justification. He just loves you and that's it, just because of who you are. When we flatter expecting the others to have a positive opinion about us, when we feel attacked and we need to defend ourselves.
Tenemos todas estas reacciones simplemente porque anticipamos que la otra persona no está de nuestra parte. Estamos robando ideas que no nos pertenecen de otros o que ni siquiera existen.
We have all these kinds of reactions simply because we foresee the other person is against us. We're stealing ideas of other people that do not belong to us or ideas that can even not exist.
Para no robar, queremos ser responsables, es decir, saber cuando algo merece una respuesta. Y el verdadero poder es saber que no todo requiere una respuesta, nuestra atención o conciencia. La habilidad de ser conscientes y centrarnos en lo que queremos elegir ya es sanadora.
In order not to steal, we want to be responsible. That is, we need to know when a question requires an answer. And the real power relies on knowing that not everything requires an answer, our attention or our awareness. The skill of being conscious and make focus on what we want to choose is already healing for us.
Ese mensaje que recibes y que hace que te tenses, por ejemplo, alguien que no te aprecia a tu trabajo, el comentario de un familiar sobre tu ropa o tu forma de vida, la crítica de alguien que no entiende tu decisión, eso les pertenece a ellos. No robes lo que no es tuyo, solo es tuyo cuando decides que el hecho requiere una respuesta, algo que nunca fue responsabilidad tuya.
That message you receive and that stresses you, For example, someone who doesn't appreciate your job, the comment of a relative about your clothing or your lifestyle, the critics of someone who does not understand a decision you have taken. All that belongs to them. Do not steal what does not belong to you. It is only yours when you decide the specific event requires an answer, something that has never been your responsibility.
En palabras de Viktor Fram, entre el estímulo y la respuesta existe un espacio. En este espacio se encuentra nuestro poder para elegir la respuesta y en nuestra respuesta descansa nuestra libertad y nuestra capacidad para crecer como personas.
In the words of Viktor Frankl, between the stimulus and the answer, a gap exists. Within that gap, our own power to choose an answer exists as well. In our answer lies our freedom and our ability to grow as a human being.
La pregunta es cómo hacer para llevar este concepto a la vida cotidiana.
The question is, how can we do to implement this concept in our everyday life?
Algunas pautas para comenzar a discernir cuando algo viene de nuestro interior o no son, vamos a decir estos tips que voy a exponer a continuación.
Some clues to detect whether something comes from our inner self or not are described in the tips I'm going to give you right now.
Ejercicio 1. Escribe una lista de tus valores. ¿Qué valoras? ¿Cómo estás actuando de forma contraria a tus valores? Identifica qué estás haciendo que no te es de ayuda. ¿De qué comportamientos o reacciones quieres hacerte responsable y tomar conciencia para cambiarlos?
First exercise, write a list of your own values. What is valuable for you? How do you behave against your own values? Identify what you are doing that does not help you. What are the behaviors and reactions you want to be responsible for and be aware in order to change?
Ejercicio número 2. No te hagas la película. Quédate en los hechos en sí, no añadas argumentos a tu película. Cuando te sientas atacado, irascible, recrea la situación que crees que desencadenó todo de la forma más neutral posible.
Exercise 2, do not fancy. Do not fancy illusions in your mind. Do not play a movie in your mind. Grasp facts as simple as they are. Do not add arguments to your mind. When you feel attacked, quick-tempered, recreate the situation that you think triggered everything, but as neutral as possible.
Por ejemplo, mi hermano no fue capaz de responderme el mensaje que envié por WhatsApp. No robes miedos de tu entorno o de tu mente que solo te harían escalar, como, por ejemplo, no me respondió al teléfono, seguro que no me quiere, está enojado conmigo, piensa que soy molesto.
For instance, my brother was not able to reply my message on WhatsApp. Do not steal fears from your surrounding or from your mind. That could only increase your madness. For example, he didn't reply me because he doesn't love me, or because he's mad at me, or because he thinks I am a burden.
Cada principio ético en el yoga tiene como finalidad la claridad y el bienestar, y es que esto es yoga en su esencia más pura, autoconocernos para adoptar prácticas que nos ayuden a cesar las fluctuaciones de nuestra mente, como dijo Patanjali, quitar la raíz de la infelicidad en nuestras vidas.
Each ethical principle in yoga has the aim of providing clearness and wellness. It's yoga in its most pure essence. Discover
La
who we
palabra
are, develop self-knowledge to implement practices that help us cease fluctuations in our mind, as Patanjali said. We have to abolish the root of unhappiness in our lives.
La palabra yoga significa unir, conectar, en definitiva, llegar a ser completo. Así que practicando cada aspecto del yoga dentro y fuera de la clase práctica, puedes aprender a sentir que ya tienes lo suficiente, que ya eres suficiente tal y como eres. Todo está dentro de ti.
The word yoga means to unite, connect. We have to be at last complete. So by practicing each aspect of yoga within and outside the practice is the way you can learn to feel that you already have enough, that you are enough as you are, because everything is inside of you.
Incluso sin darnos cuenta, suele haber una pequeña parte de nosotros que empieza con las mejores intenciones, pero que a mitad de la clase empieza a tentarnos para que practiquemos la forma en que una asana debería verse en lugar de cómo se siente.
Even without being aware, there always exists a part of ourselves that starts the practice with the best intentions. Though in the middle of the class, something triggers and tempts us to get into an asana from the way in which it should be, instead of getting our focus on how we feel inside of that asana.
Cuando nos centramos continuamente en empujarnos un poco más allá de este límite para conseguir un asana, no solo nos privamos de una práctica sostenible y natural, sino que nos privamos de poder estar presentes en la postura y con nosotros mismos, tal y como somos, como son las cosas en este momento.
When we continuously focus on pushing ourselves beyond that limit to reach an asana, we do not only deprive from a sustainable and natural practice, but also we do deprive from being present in the posture and present in ourselves in the way things are at that specific moment.
Ábrete y acepta tu práctica exactamente como es en ese momento en la clase. Así nunca tendrás que sentir que estás atrás si algunas asanas están un poco fuera de tu alcance en ese momento.
Open yourself and accept your practice exactly as it is at that given moment, so as not to feel you are behind of some asanas that are out of your reach.
Son las posturas que podemos hacer las que definen nuestra práctica, sino la cantidad de conciencia que aportamos a ellas.
First, we can reach, do not define our practice, but the amount of awareness we put into them are the ones which define our practice.
Ahora bien, el camino está en practicar Astella fuera de la clase, en nuestra vida cotidiana, a comenzar a conectarnos con la plenitud que yace en nuestro yo supremo, en nuestro verdadero ser, y dejar que todas tus virtudes y habilidades broten en ti sin esfuerzo.
However, the path is to practice Asteya outside the class in our everyday life. Start to connect with the wholeness that resides in our higher self, in our real self, and letting your virtues and abilities to crop up with no effort.
Quiero agradecer una vez más al doctor Vikram que hizo que esta fuera posible. Es un honor para mí estar presente aquí con todos ustedes.
I want to thank everybody, especially Mr. Bikram, who made this possible. I am very glad and honored to be here present with you today.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, Nestor ji, and thank you very much for the interpreter also. May I know your name also? One who translated. I wanted to thank you also.
Yo también quiero agradecerle, estoy muy agradecido que esté presente.
I also want to tell you that your speech on aparigraha is one of the bestest speech I ever heard on this topic.
Quiero contarles que su desarrollo sobre el tema Asteya fue uno de los mejores que he escuchado en todo este tiempo.
Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I thank Acharya Vasudevananda Nestasis Rani for sharing his views and coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you, Acharya Vasudevananda ji. I feel delighted to welcome Ms. Gina Suresh from USA. Gina got inspired by her grandfather and father in yoga asana practices 20 years ago. With the intention of spreading the goodness of yoga with others, she did the yoga teachers training from Pandit Radheshyam Mishra ji. Her association with Project Self USA spiked her interest in Bhagavad Gita and Vedantic studies. Now she incorporates the teaching of Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga in Yoga Sadhana program conducted by Project Self USA. Professionally, she's working in a pharmaceutical company as a director of field force effectiveness. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Gina Suresh from USA.
Namaste everyone. Acharya Devo Bhava. My gratitude to Vikranji and Rajeshji and all my teachers. I am humbled to have an opportunity to present a meditation for you during the occasion of United Consciousness International Day of Yoga. From many masters, you have heard that Jnana Yoga reveals the veil of the ignorance, remove the veils of ignorance and show you the true self, which is the source of unlimited happiness or eternal contentment. Kathopanishad says that for any individual who is prepared, with a prepared mind, can only get into that state of mindset. So question is, how do we prepare our mind? Meditation will help you to prepare that mind. Every single day, we take a shower to remove the physical impurities. Similarly, every single day, we pick up mental impurities in the form of resentment and disappointment, jealousy, our crushed ego. What does this do to our mind? These impurities create hatred and anger and all other negative emotions in us. Now, it is important that we remove all these negative emotions so that we can improve upon our meditation practice and we can progress in our spiritual journey. So, for example, if somebody said you something the other day and which you think he or she should not have said, that particular feeling is going to disturb you throughout, even when you are sitting on your meditation mat. So it's important that you have to get rid of these negative emotions. Now, one of the ways that to give forgiveness to those people, because forget about the others, it's actually infecting your mind. All these emotions are infecting your mind. So it's important that you forgive others. So how do we do that? This is one meditation that I'm going to show you today is called compassion meditation. So in the compassion meditation, we are going to show our compassion, our kindness towards first to the one who we really, really love. And then we show the compassion towards ourselves. And finally, we extend that compassion to that one person who actually should not have said that, right? So the one who hurt us. So how do we extend that to the compassion meditation is what we practice today. So wherever you're sitting, let's start with a physical relaxation. So sit either in a chair or on a yoga mat. Sit tall with head, neck, and tongue in a straight line. If you're sitting on a chair, you can move away from the backrest and you can put your feet deeply rooted on the floor. Just settle into your body. You may close your eye at this point. Settle into your pose. Feel the breath and feel wherever your body is feeling any sensation. You can rest your hand in Chin Mudra, which is connecting your thumb and index finger and resting on your thigh. Wherever you can feel the sensation, focus on that sensation. It may be the movement of the breath in your abdomen. It may be the chest movement. It may be pressure of your two fingers in Chin Mudra or the touch of your hand onto your knee. Whatever be that sensation, just sink into that. Feel the touch of your clothes on your body. Now let's do a slow physical body relaxation. Start with your feet. If you're sitting in the chair, feel the firmness of the feet. Feel, if you're sitting down, feel the entire leg compressed against the earth. Feel the body weight. It's transferred to the earth through your seat. Feel your neck. Relax and release your face. Relax the eyebrow. There should be no tension in the forehead. Relax your entire body from your tip of your toes to the crown of your head. Exhale and feel the tension released from your body. Inhale deep. With next exhalation, feel the entire tension getting out of your body. Just settle into that present moment completely. You're with your inhalation and exhalation. Bring a smile into your face as you think of your most loved person. It may be your daughter, son, your spouse, your father or mother, or even a pet. Bring their image into your mind and wish them well. Pour your love towards the person you love the most. mentally tell that person, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be loved, for the entire love that you have for that person from the bottom of your heart. Your heart overflowing with the love towards that person. It's filling, it's spilling, and it's spreading. Repeat in your mind to that person, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be loved. Now, with that same mental state, bring that compassion towards you. Only if you're happy, only if your heart is contented, you can provide happiness to others. So turn your attention towards you and say the words to you. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be loved. Again, fill your heart with love towards you. Fill it with love towards you. Wish all the happiness in the world to you. May I be happy. May I be loved. Now, slowly bring your attention to the person that might have hurt you. Just think that just like you, that person also deserved to be happy, contented, and loved. Once again, fill your heart with compassion towards that person. Forgive that person. And now wish him or her with all your heart. Just repeat in your mind, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be contented, and may you be loved. Forgive and pour your entire heart towards that person. Just let go of all negative emotions and wish him or her well from the bottom of your heart. Let all your negativities go away and wish that person, may you be well, may you be happy, and may you be loved. Your heart is getting filled with happiness and kindness, compassion, and it is spilling and it is spreading to that person. Now think of all the people in your life that you know and wish them all well. Now think of all the people that you don't know and wish them well as well. Let all beings be happy, contented, be loved. Now, as we conclude our meditation, bring your awareness to that sensation, what you can most feel. Might be the movement of breath in your abdomen or chest. Be with that sensation. And let's conclude our meditation with the chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Namaste and thank you to all the organizers of United Consciousness.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Gina Suresh for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. United Consciousness has celebrated International Yoga Day with a theme Yoga for Mind, Body and Soul. Yoga is an invaluable gift of India's ancient tradition. It embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, restraints and fulfillment, harmony between man and nature, a holistic approach to health and well-being. It is about to discover the sense of oneness within yourself, the world, and nature. By changing our lifestyles and creating consciousness, it can help in well being. I am highly privileged to have this opportunity to present my gratitude to all those who have witnessed and blessed this event directly or indirectly. We are blessed by the God for a successful functioning of the event. So firstly, I thank God for showering His blessings on us. I extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabuddhe, President ICCR. I owe my heartfelt thanks to Swami Swarupananda ji. I feel grateful to thank Swami Tattvamayananda ji, Ms. Avneet Baid, Dr. Jose Ruge, Mr. Rajesh Rabindranath, Mr. Nestor Cesareni, Ms. Gina Suresh. I thank all highly esteemed and learned panelists for their panel discussion. I'm thankful to all the wonderful music artists and magnificent dance performers for their cultural performances. I thank European Yoga Federation, Swami Suryananda Saraswati ji, Ms. Amy Blesio, Ms. Emilia, Sarah, Danielia, Christine, and also thank the Spiritual Council in Africa. I owe my heartfelt thanks to Team Project Self USA, Shri Rajesh Rabindranath, Ms. Durika Arvind, Ms. Rashmi Kashi, Dr. Prasad Akavu, Dr. Vijay Reddy, Ms. Gina Suresh, Mr. Karthik Palamalai, Mr. K.L. Alexander, Mr. Venkat Sriram Lalu, Ms. Deepthi Nair, Ms. Avneet Baid, Mr. Suresh, Mr. Devaraju, Ms. Deepa Arun. I thank Team Project Self Bharat, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, Dr. Shweta Tomar, Aditi Meghna Mausan Prachi, Mr. J.S. Juneja, Dr. Paramji Juneja, Rishi Vishalji Arnav, Aditya Ashwin, Rati Dharmendra ji, Uday, Pooja ji, Bharti ji, Dipti ji, Amrish ji, Mrinalini ji, Khushbu ji, Jimmy ji. Mr. Sanjay Rajput, Ms. Simran Reel, Deputy Commandant T.P. Singh. I extend my special thanks to IG Shri Arun Kumar ji, CRPF Mount Abu, and Assistant Commandant Mr. Amit Deswal and Mr. Vikas Kumar. I am grateful to our wonderful audiences and thank all visible and invisible sources blessing us. Thank you so much, everyone.